Hi, today I will be presenting a case analysis on serial murder through the prosecution of Jeffrey Dahmer. This case is one of the most well-known serial killer murder cases in the United States history and demonstrates clear patterns of repetitive homicide, psychological control, and escalation over time. I will be analyzing the case using criminal classification, prosecution evidence, the final outcome, and a deterrence theory. So, first thing, serial murder is defined as the unlawful killing of two or more victims in separate events with a cooling off period between offenses. These crimes are typically driven by psychological motives such as control, domination, fantasy, or compulsion. Serial murder is different from mass or spree killing because it involves repetitive behavior over long periods of time with ritualistic patterns and tends to show an escalation over time. For those who don't know, we'll do a quick case overview. Jeffrey Dahmer primarily operated in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from 1978 until his arrest in 1991. He was responsible for the murders of 17 young men and boys. His crimes remained undetected over a decade due to manipulation, police misstep, and his ability to appear non-threatening. His arrest occurred after one of his victims escaped and alerted police. The criminal classification in this would be a criminal case involving multiple felony charges, including 16 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, second-degree sexual assault, enticing a child for immoral purposes, lewd and lascivious behavior, which was originally charged as public exposure and masturbation. The prosecution presented the state of Wisconsin against the defendant, Jeffrey Dahmer. Each charge in this case carried a mandatory life sentence due to the severity and premeditated nature of the crimes. So, with victim profiling and patterns, Jeffrey Dahmer followed a consistent victim pool. His victims primarily shared similar traits, such as being young, male, gay, mainly minority, and having certain vulnerabilities that allowed Jeffrey Dahmer to manipulate them into coming back to his apartment. Although physical traits varied, these other traits were common among all of his victims. Dahmer lured all of his victims to his apartment with the promise of money or alcohol or both. Once there, the same pattern of drugging, restraint, and murder occurred. This repeated ritual across years strongly supports serial offender classification. While the police searched Dahmer's apartment, they found overwhelming physical evidence, including human remains in acid, preserved skulls, severed body parts, and Polaroid photographs documenting the crimes. This evidence by itself established guilt beyond a reasonable doubt and showed extensive planning and intent to conceal crime. A key moment in the case was when one intended victim escaped and directly led police back to Dahmer's apartment. On July 22nd, 1991, Edwards escaped from Dahmer's apartment after being held at knife point with one handcuff attached to his wrist. He flagged down police, intending to remove the handcuff and nothing else, but ended up leading them back to the apartment where the police discovered the grisly evidence of Dahmer's murders, resulting in his immediate arrest. This testimony given by the victim directly connected Dahmer to all of the crimes. After his arrest, Dahmer gave a full voluntary confession. He described his crimes in detail, including methods, motivations, and the location of remaining victims. His statements matched the physical evidence in the missing persons report, leaving no dispute regarding responsibility of these crimes. The prosecution argued that Jeffrey Dahmer was motivated by a need for absolute control and domination over his victims. His behavior showed clear escalation over time, indicating psychological compulsion rather than impulse violence. This motive theory supported legal sanity and intentional planning with regards to the crimes. Jeffrey Dahmer was convicted on 15 counts of first-degree murder and received 15 life sentences. Later, another account was added, making the total 16. He was permanently removed from society through incarceration. In 1994, Dahmer was attacked while cleaning duty in the gymnasium bathroom at Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. Guards had left the 3 inmates unsupervised for approximately 20 minutes. Christopher Scarver confronted Dahmer with the newspaper clipping detailing his crimes, and after Dahmer was supposedly shocked and tried to escape, he was hit over the head twice, inflicting massive head injuries. Scarver then went and attacked the other prisoner on the cleaning duty. Scarver, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, later explained that he was, quote, fiercely disgusted by Dahmer's crimes. With the idea of deterrence theory, there's really not a big one that can be happening to deter these crimes from happening in the future. Nothing that could have happened before the crimes could have really deterred Dahmer from doing it. The only appropriate deterrence in this case is incapacity, which means just completely locking everybody up and preventing any further harm, which is what happened in Dahmer's case. Rehabilitation wasn't considered a realistic opportunity due to the severity and psychological depth of Dahmer's behaviors, and if you look at the crime, it's really hard to rehabilitate that. While general deterrence through public awareness is definitely expected, it couldn't undo the crimes or prevent anyone further. It would just have the public be aware of certain things and signs that they can see to stop any further destruction in the future. If I were presenting the defense side, I would probably follow the same steps that the defense in this case actually tried to follow, which would be that I would argue that Dahmer suffered from severe mental illness and diminished capacity, meaning that an insanity plea would have been had in this case, saying that he was too insane to fully comprehend the crimes that he was committing. However, the prosecution successfully countered this by showing that Dahmer demonstrated planning, concealment, manipulation, and awareness of wrongdoing. This provided legal sanity under criminal standards. Thank you for watching this presentation on a criminal case.